It's Big 12 championship weekend as the Iowa State Cyclone versus the Arizona State Sun Devils. Both teams are seeking their first Big 12 title in school history. Iowa State, 10 wins for the first time in program history, and Arizona State is seeking their first 11-win season since 1996. Let's welcome in Alec Bussey, publisher for CycloneAlert.com, and Chris Cartman, publisher for SunDevilSource.com. Arizona State is trying to defy all odds of getting picked last in the Big 12 to now being tied for the Big 12 championship and heading into the Big 12 championship game. How has Kenny Dillingham transformed Arizona State into a Big 12 contender so early?
One word, Smoke: culture. Kenny Dillingham likes to talk about his players having more fun working harder than they ever have in their lives. And they've bought into that ideology. It's consumed them. They're very process oriented, not focused on the outcomes as much as the day-to-day grind that they're putting in. And that has led to this magical season where they've had the best improvement in school history year over year after 3 wins last season in his first year. And also, they've won the most one-possession games in school history with 6. And this has been a magical type of a season.
Iowa State has turned into the Big 12 championship, first time since 2020. Alec, can they capitalize on this opportunity to win their first major conference championship?
They certainly should have confidence in their ability to do it after overcoming 2 early November season losses against Texas Tech and Kansas. They were able to end the year on a 3-game win streak, which certainly increased confidence, I think, heading into this game for Iowa State. They weren't picked last in the league entering the preseason, but they were picked in the top 6 or 7 of the conference. They've mostly met those expectations, winning 10 games this season, and really they've exceeded a lot of them behind a dynamic passing duo with Rocco Beck finding 2 1,000-yard receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. And then the defense has been pretty impressive all year, especially the pass defense, led by a strong secondary with Darian Porter, Jontez Williams at corner. And then at that safety position, they've got Malik Verdon at the nickel, and then Bo Frailer and Jeremiah Cooper back on the back end at safety.
Let's get into offense versus defense. Iowa State's offense versus Arizona State's defense. Alec, how will Iowa State's 2,000-yard receivers, Higgins and Nolan, exploit the Arizona State secondary?
Yeah, they've been really good all season in various areas. You're going to see Jaden Higgins get a lot of the targets on the outside of the field. Jalen Knoll is mostly a slot receiver for the Cyclones. Think of Knoll as your more like speedy kind of target for quarterback Rocco Beck, who's thrown for over 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons now. Both are really reliable. The Cyclones really enjoy targeting Higgins in the red zone, but he's also a big play threat. Knoll has been big for Iowa State throughout the year on big plays. In fact, their first play of the season from scrimmage against North Dakota all the way back in week 1 was about a 50-yard completion over the middle of the field to Jalen Knoll. So both are big play threats, but they do it in different ways. Higgins mostly on the outside. You're going to see Jalen Knoll, like I said, a little bit in the slot. And if Iowa State's able to get tight end Ben Bramer back, who's a sophomore, that could really help add a third receiver, which is something they've kind of lacked throughout the season. Bramer's been out, I believe, since the UCF game with a lower body injury. I believe it's something in his knee. Matt Campbell expressing some confidence on Tuesday that Ben Bramer is trending positively entering into Saturday's Big 12 championship game.
Arizona State's been playing really, really good defense, not giving up more than 24 points in the last 6 to 7 games. Chris, how do they sustain this defensive performance?
Yeah, their safety play in particular has been outstanding, using Miles Router, a strong safety playing the box. He's someone that embodies their violent approach. They get a lot of hats around the football. They rotate a lot of guys up front at the linebacker level across the defensive front. Elijah O'Neal had 2 sacks against Arizona, but Clayton Smith, Prince Dorba, CJ Fight, Jacob Richkin-Gaika, they come in waves at opponents, and their linebackers as well. Caleb McCullough, a senior, who's seen ASU at the worst of the worst. Now, one of their top playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, Xavier Alford, with the top end. I mean, he does a phenomenal job at the back, bat safety from a coverage and a rallying up run stopping standpoint. You put that all together, and you're talking about a team that has not given up hardly any big plays throughout the season, while also being very good at stopping the run.
Now let's get into Arizona State's offense versus Iowa State's defense. Now we know that they got this monster back there running the ball, Cam Scatterbo. Third in the NCAA in yards from scrimmage. Now, how does he exploit that Iowa State struggling rush defense?
Well, his contact balance is incredible, and he's a ferocious player who really sets the tone for this cultural overhaul that Kenny Dillingham has brought to Tempe. He's also great at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's their second leading receiver. And they're going to pound away with Scatterbo, especially with Jordan Tyson unable to play, their star receiver who's over 1,000 yards. You're going to see Iowa State have, and if that doesn't happen, ASU is probably going to be able to put up 200 plus yards on the ground and possess the ball at a high level, which it's done throughout the season.
Alec, can Iowa State contain Cam Scatterbo and limit that ground attack?
It'll be a big challenge for the Cyclone defense. Something that they've struggled to do all season is defend good rushing attack. So, however, they did do a pretty good job a week ago against Kansas State's quarterback, Avery Johnson, one of the better running quarterbacks in the Big 12. DJ Giddens as well, one of the better running backs in the conference. He's rushed for over, I think, 1,300 yards this season, DJ Giddens has, and he didn't have a ton of success against Iowa State's defense. Getting linebacker Will McLaughlin back for the Cincinnati game seemed to provide some stability to the run defense, but they did lose Malik Verdon last weekend, who's impressive in his run defense and coverage ability at that nickel safety spot. So it's certainly a big question mark. They're going to have to be ready for a physical runner, someone that Matt Campbell compared to David Montgomery during his weekly press conference to preview Saturday's game. So all things considered, it's going to be a huge challenge for them. I think they're aware of and they're expecting the difficulties that come with tackling Cam Scatterbo.
Now, Chris, everybody from Nick Saban to yourself has been screaming about Cam Scatterbo. What are the keys to victories for ASU to come home with this W?
Yeah, this is two good defenses. I'd say there's a strong chance this ends up being a relatively low-scoring game. Turnovers, ASU's atop the Big 12 in margin. Sam Levitt, quarterback, is only thrown 5 interceptions this season. That's the fewest among the regular starting quarterbacks. So ball control, ball possession, being able to run the ball, and then finding a way to generate passing offense, some big plays. Xavier Guillory has come on in recent weeks as 2 big play completions. Shimon Mateer is a tight end that they've used quite a lot successfully. And then just not giving up big plays. Iowa State's 2,000-yard receivers, that's a threat, especially on the outside. I would say 6'4", bigger-bodied receiver. ASU's cornerbacks, not the more physical, bigger type of guys on the perimeter. They're going to have to keep that in check. If they're able to do that, and given them that's in close games, I think they have a great chance to win.
Now, Alec, we've heard about Cam Scatterbo running the ball all over the place, but nobody wants to talk about Rocco Beck slinging the ball all over the place. What are the keys of victory for Iowa State to pull this one out?
Yeah, this might be kind of a boring or generic answer, but I'm kind of just going to flip everything that Chris said, describing the keys for Arizona State to win. I think it's really that simple when you look at these two teams entering Saturday morning's contest in Dallas. If Iowa State can't stop Cam Scatterbo on the ground, they're really going to struggle to, I think, kind of win the time of possession battle. And I think that that's something that could really hurt them. The Jordan Tyson not being available for the Sun Devils is going to certainly hurt their passing offense. If Iowa State's going to win, it's going to be because of the success that they have in stopping Scatterbo. And then obviously, offensively, they're not a team that has great success running the ball, but timely runs. Carson Hansen, a sophomore running back for them, has over 10 rushing touchdowns on the season. Can he get into the end zone when Iowa State gets inside the red zone, and then getting the ball to your playmakers in Higgins and Knoll, which is a really dynamic receiving core, maybe the best in the Big 12, one of the best in the country if you really want to look at some of the advanced numbers on things, or even some of the regular numbers on things. So just kind of flipping everything that Chris said, I think it kind of comes down to pretty simple equations for each team. Can Iowa State stop Cam Skattebo? And if they can't, how do you prevent Arizona State from scoring? And then offensively for the Cyclones, can you get the ball to your best playmakers? And can you let them make plays with the ball in their hand in the open field?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Chris. For more coverage on your team, for Iowa State Cyclones, CycloneAlert.com, and for the Arizona State Sun Devils, SunDevilSource.com.